Imagine this. You're in the middle of the Avengers Infinity Defense multiverse battle, and the environment in front of you physically splits like a dimensional portal, and then your vehicle starts to rise. Not simulated, but physically ascending through the show building mid ride. That's not the flat Peter Pan's Neverland adventure platform this attraction is supposed to be based on. This is what Infinity Defense might actually be doing, and today we're going to walk through the three Imagineering techniques that could make it happen. So let's start with what Infinity Defense actually is. It's easy to look at this thing and see another Marvel simulator ride and just move on. This will be the centerpiece of DCA's biggest expansion in the past decade. The story puts you in the middle of a multiverse conflict against King Thanos, a version of Thanos who defeated the Avengers. You're jumping between Asgard, Wakanda, and New York City. Robert Downey Jr. is expected to voice it. The immense scale of this is real. We'll be getting into some Imagineering detail that most coverage has glossed over in favor of concept art and cast announcements. So let's actually dig into it. The ride system underneath Infinity Defense is almost certainly inherited from the ride platform that debuted with Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure. This has long been speculated, so I'm not breaking any news here. This is a connection that's already well established. What the lineage actually means for Infinity Defense is more interesting than what the coverage has suggested. It's not as simple as Disney just ported over the Peter Pan ride system. But here's the quick version of what the platform does. You have a chassis on a guided track, a turntable on top of that, a 6 degrees of freedom motion base, which is basically a sophisticated hydraulic platform, and then the themed passenger cabin on top of all that. This whole thing pairs with single lens high definition 3D projections. And together, this tech stack creates a sensation of unconstrained flight on a completely flat floor. It's genuinely impressive Imagineering. Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure might feature the most advanced dark ride vehicle Disney has ever built. But here's the thing. In this instance, that platform was tuned for one specific experience. Slow arcs, gradual pitch, and soft sweeping movement that feels like you're gently gliding through the sky. But that's not what an Avengers multiverse battle ride needs. You'll have multiverse portals opening, a Loki statue being crushed by a large monument in front of your vehicle, dimension jumping that's supposed to feel like being yanked through a tear in reality. That's not supposed to feel gentle. It needs to be genuinely intense. So Disney has this gap to close, and how they're planning to close this gap is what we'll be getting into. Three techniques that are based on what we see in released WDI footage and what the under construction show building is telling us. So we'll start with technique 1, and this is one we can actually see. WDI released an episode of their we call it Imagineering series called Let's Ride, and it gave us our first real look inside Infinity Defense's ride development. There's a lot going on in this footage. You see the vehicle mock-up, the motion calibration, the Imagineers wearing 3D glasses. But the most interesting thing isn't the ride vehicle, it's the screen. In Peter Pan's ride, the projection screen is fixed and doesn't move. The motion base does all the kinetic work, and the screen is basically a very sophisticated canvas. It looks great, but it's all static. In this Infinity Defense testing footage, the screen split apart. A screen physically opens like a set of doors and reveals a second screen directly behind it. And like Peter Pan, it will likely be coordinated with the vehicle's turntable and 6 degrees platform. Now think about what this will feel like when you're riding. In the story, you're jumping through a multiverse portal, and instead of the ride simulating that through motion and visuals alone, the environment splits open in front of you, the vehicle shakes and rotates, and you pass through the gap. The portal isn't just something happening on the screen. Here you'll feel the physical sensation of passing through a dimensional portal. That's a real upgrade to the ride experience because it's not just a visual trick. It moves the kinetic storytelling off of the motion base and into the show environment itself. The original Peter Pan system never had to do that. That's the first technique, and the physical portal screens are only part of the story. Technique 2 is a bit harder to really measure, but the logic is pretty straightforward. The motion base in this platform is the 6 Degrees of Freedom Stewart platform, and it's rated for significantly more aggressive forces than what Peter Pan needs it to produce. Sharper accelerations, harder counterbanking, high frequency vibration that'll feel like battle impact rather than gliding motions. Peter Pan never needed this type of intense motion, but Infinity Defense does. And WDI can get there purely through software by programming the motion choreography, pushing the ride base harder in the flight sequences, making the Wakanda battle sequences hit differently than Neverland soaring sequences. We can't fully prove the exact motion profiles they'll be using, but the story they're telling obviously demands they go there. Technique 3 is where the show building itself gives us clues, and it's the one Disney hasn't publicly shared. Disney hasn't confirmed this, but the show building footprint is showing it to us in plain sight. Infinity Defense will feature a multi level layout, and specifically a vertical lift somewhere in the ride path that physically moves the vehicle up or drops the vehicle down through the show building mid ride. This physical lift can simulate rapid vertical ascents through portals or sudden drops during battle sequences. You might ask, why is this needed? The platform already simulates vertical movement. You pitch the cabin backward, run the visual of the ground moving away below you, hit the motion base with the right vibration profile, and your brain fills in the rest. It thinks you're climbing. It's a great trick. But a physical vertical lift is a completely different thing. This won't just be simulated climbs or drops. The full mechanical stack, including the 6 degrees of freedom base and turntable, physically ascending or dropping mid-ride. This is very similar to Rise of the Resistance when you're lifted in the AT-AT hangar or dropped in the escape pods. So think about what you could potentially layer on top of all this. The dynamic portal screens can split open as you rise. The motion base pitches and shakes through the lift. You're physically moving upward through a tear in the multiverse. This will be a dimensional jump you can actually feel in your stomach. And here's why this matters even as a rumor. If Disney is retuning some software and adding portal screens that open, that's already a significant and meaningful evolution. Techniques 1 and 2 together make a better version of what the platform already does. And by combining these with physically lifting the entire vehicle stack mid-ride, Disney is fundamentally expanding what the platform is capable of. It moves beyond just a simple flight simulator with 3D screens. So let's bring it back to the thing that makes the construction progress of this ride genuinely worth watching, beyond just the Marvel IP. The platform powering Infinity Defense is almost certainly the same one that gave us Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure. And that platform is currently the most advanced dark ride vehicle technology Disney has in its collection right now. The question Infinity Defense answers is, how far will Disney actually push this platform? Technique 1 gets you more expressive storytelling. The environment isn't just a backdrop, it moves and physically reacts. Technique 2 gives you the intensity. The same hardware, retuned to feel like a superhero battle instead of dreamy flight. Technique 3, if it's real, gets you something this platform has never done before. And this is the one that really changes what this platform is capable of going forward. At the end of the day, this isn't just about one new Marvel attraction. If Disney builds this vertical lift into the Infinity Defense platform, they've created a brand new template for every e-ticket that uses this ride chassis from this point forward. It's not just a simple ride upgrade, it'll be a new chapter in how Disney builds dark rides. So out of all three of these techniques, which one do you think is going to have the biggest impact on the Infinity Defense experience? The physical portal, the motion intensity, or the vertical lift? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.